Well, folks, after an overwhelming response on the Instagrams, here it is, what you all have been waiting for. So, entertaining majority white audiences in New Orleans for the past 13 years has been a roller coaster. Not necessarily in a bad way, but in an educational way. The reason I began this series in the first place was just so that I can talk about this subject that we are about to dive into. This video is for all my curious souls. I'm hoping to elaborate on it more in the future, but I kind of wanted to get a nice little skeleton outline with this video just to get y'all with your creative juices flowing and just to understand my perspective and hopefully other people's perspectives, because there are others that want to come on here and share their stories as being a Black performer of color in this city and also just around the world, because I'm pretty sure we all have very similar experiences. So one thing I've noticed as a Black performer of color, at least within this city, is that the bigger the gig, or like the more important the gig that I had, the wider the audience was going to be. And I say that on a professional level on all of the shows that I actually got paid for. If I got paid more for something, it meant that I was going to probably be the only Black person in the room. And I hate to say I assume it, but I mean, and it's not always the case. It's just a common theme that I've noticed. The wider the audiences got when I was performing, the more pressure I felt to represent all of the people that weren't there, the Black folks of America, because none of them were in the audience watching. And I mean, you have hundreds and hundreds of people in these audiences, and I'm the only one. When it's just me in the room, I think about that stuff, and I try not to, but I do it anyway. Well, the wider the audiences got, the more I felt I needed to represent everyone that wasn't there, and I also just needed to represent myself as a Black woman on stage. But I wanted to represent myself as a Black woman not the way that most people expect a Black woman to represent themselves. I want to bring my genuine self. I charm the audience. I do all of these awesome, talented things, and I just so happen to be Black. I want the Blackness I want it to radiate, but I don't want it to be the main focus of my performances. When I am graced by a Black audience member, however, I make sure that they see me. I make sure that the rest of that white audience sees me performing to that Black person, because they don't understand. Like, when you see someone in that audience that you connect with, their excitement radiates to me, because they're excited that they see a Black person on stage. So I take that energy and I run with it. Any person that's Black in that room, they don't necessarily have to be an audience member. They can be anywhere. If I can feel that energy, I will take it and run with it. Is it lonely being the only Black person in the room besides maybe the custodian staff? It is, but I have to remind myself of why I'm there, because I love what I'm able to do. I'm very privileged, I'm very blessed and grateful to be able to do what I do best on stage and to have other people witness it. Double the points if it's someone who's a person of color, because that can inspire them to do what they need to do with their lives if they're not already doing it, you know. Like, it's just so good to see Black people living in their element when you get a chance to see that or to witness it. It's powerful. In regards to me being able to live in my element and perform for these audiences, I like knowing that my representation of them is giving all of us a better image to the rest of the world, because there are still a lot of people in the rest of this world that think that Black people only act, look, and live a certain way. And that's why I'm here. That's why we have other Black performers of color here to debunk that whole stereotype that we didn't even create for ourselves. Have I ever had a negative interaction with a white audience member due to the color of my skin? I haven't had any negative interactions that I know of, but I have had negative microaggressions with audience members. To give a general example, because it happens a lot, some of my shows I have to actually participate with the audience, and most of the time I'll have to interact with at least 1 or 2, 3 white people. The energy that they give me when I'm coming to them, it's almost like I'm not wanted. It's like an apprehensiveness in their energy. My energy is warm, welcoming, like I sing to you, I am ready for you, I am giving you the best of me. But like theirs is like, it's kind of like that purse clutching feeling. Like they're just kind of like, don't touch me, don't touch me. Until I'm off that stage. Because on that stage, I am safe. I am in my element. I am on that stage. But it's like once it's almost like I'm coming through a TV screen. You see me on screen and you're like, oh, this is the black girl on screen. But, you know, and like that is your safe space. You are in your own home, surrounded by all the people that you decide to be surrounded by. And then you have me on TV screen, far, far, far away, but on the TV screen, like right there on the TV screen. But then I jump out of the TV screen. It's almost like seeing an elephant for the first time come out of your screen. It can be weird, especially if you're not used to interacting with things that you only see on TV or on stage. That's the kind of interactions I will get at least 50% of the time when I'm going out to an audience member or I have to interact with an audience member that is white. So how do I cope with that? Knowing that I'm going on stage with the knowledge of me possibly only performing for a white audience. Well, like I said earlier, I remember who I'm representing. I remember that I am doing what I love to do. I also speak to my other fellow black performers just for reassurance and for clarity, because when you're in that headspace too long, or if you are in that space of just performing for white audiences night after night after night after night, you develop this sunken place aura about yourself, and you have to regroup with your own black people. It's kind of like my nails. See how some of them are, they're gone. Like I need to repaint these 3. In my instance, all of them were painted at one point. I was cool. Like all these nails were great. Like they were performing on this stage and whatnot. Let's say I have a microaggression that happens and then one nail comes off. I have second microaggression, another nail comes off. And then like all of a sudden you have all of these nails that are no longer there. What I need to do as a black person is regroup with my folks about our experiences as performers of color. And then all these nails will be repainted. And then I can keep going. And I can continue along and, you know, continue to perform with all of my nails intact. I kind of wanted to just speak a little bit about this. I don't want to go into too much detail because I really want you guys to give me more feedback as to what you want specifically for me to, and for other people to talk about on this subject, especially anyone that is not black. Like, I know y'all have questions, and I know that y'all are curious and want to know and want to help and want to be about supporting and making all of our experiences as positive as possible. I'm going to cut to just one other thing I want to say, because I feel like this is going to be therapeutic for me, but I also feel like this would be therapeutic for any performer of color that just does not get a chance to do this. And I feel like this is something that I can always refer back to when I have those moments where I'm feeling discouraged or just fed up with being the only one. This goes out to all of my fellow white audience members that I perform for pretty much every single time I hit the stage. I thank you for watching me, for accepting me on that stage to entertain you. I am grateful that you have inherited wealth in order to support the arts and what I do. I wish I had more courage to come to you as my authentic self without fearing repercussions because of the political climate that we live in this day and age. And I'd rather my life than speak up for myself at a lot of times. I hope you understand for me that it is very difficult to perform for you, knowing that you, your parents or your grandparents did not accept my ancestors as equals. When I look at pictures and study up on my Black history, knowing that y'all are still around coming to my shows and watching me perform, I feel like I'm just a very big oxymoron in your daily life, because you have the choice to not interact with people like me. I have no choice but to perform for you. I enjoy performing for you. I just wish that my own people were able to see me perform a little bit more. I enjoy your support, but I would love to also see my own people support me as well. The only thing I can do is to continue to do what I do best, and hopefully it's good enough for you to realize that we are equals. I may not be able to come to you as my authentic self and profess that we are equal, but I can get on that stage and hopefully influence you to realize that we are equals.